Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. What a show we had. I'll give a second for you guys to come on in here and let's talk some professional wrestling. Let's talk some United Wrestling Network, some NWA, and of course, let's talk some championship wrestling from Memphis. You know, I've got my 10 pounds of gold on today for a reason. What a match. Nick Aldis, the national treasure, defending Sweet Charlotte, the 10 pounds of gold, against Mike Bennett, or is it Mike Kanellis? But anyways, Mike and Maria, they are awesome together. What's up, Tex? How are you? Hey, Bo, what's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. Thank you guys for joining us for the live chat. And there's BT. So big news dropped today that there's a brand new Championship Wrestling from Memphis podcast called Rollin' into Mempho. That's going to be hosted by Brian Tremel and Rhino JB. You can check him out at www.stspod.club. He has a weekly podcast. It's really good stuff. He's going to take you kind of, maybe not behind the scenes, but definitely in depth of likes, don't likes, hits, misses, everything Championship Wrestling from Memphis, along with Rhino JB. And you can check him out at twitch.tv/Rhino JB. He has an interactive wrestling league, and he has an arena set up like Championship Wrestling from Memphis. So it's very, very cool. He's from the Memphis area. So is BT, right down the street. And I know that Rhino JB has his tickets for February 14th, so he'll be able to see it live and then also watch it on television. But Rollin' into Mempho premieres on February 27th, right after Championship Wrestling from Memphis premieres. Mercy Daddy. What's up, Dreadhead Kev? He's going to be ringside taking pictures. Terry, how are you? Hair's on point. I had a business meeting early this morning. Yep, on a Saturday. STS Pod says Jonesboro. So those of you who are not from the Mid-South, Jonesboro, Arkansas is a huge wrestling town, always has been. So they're just, an hour and a half away, something like that. So you could only imagine that Championship Wrestling from Memphis will make their way to Jonesboro at some point. Hey, David, how are you? I'm excited, Dreadhead Kev. You know it. Every time we talk Championship Wrestling from Memphis or I think about the setup, I get a little butterflies, like a good nervous, because I'm so fired up about it. So, yeah. Dobo, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Anybody have any questions? Not only about today's program, stuff you liked or didn't like, but then also Championship Wrestling from Memphis. There's been a ton of questions. I'm actually going to go on Facebook after I do this and talk to the Facebook audience because they seem to always have some sort of questions in the comments. So I'll address them all directly. If you missed it, there's a brand new interview with myself and Dave Marquez regarding the launch of Championship Wrestling from Memphis. It's on Slam Wrestling. So I believe it's Slam Magazine, Slam Wrestling. We tweeted out the link, so check that out. Daquan, how are you? I saw you in the live chat today. Thanks for joining us. Tex says, are y'all going to run shows in Evansville, Indiana? You know what, man? Evansville, Indiana was a big wrestling town. I've actually wrestled there with Brian Christopher numerous times. I think it was in the Memphis Wrestling Loop at one point. But pretty much anywhere that we can run the shows will be maybe in the Mid-South area because that's where most of our television coverage is. CW30 reaches all the way to Jonesboro, Arkansas, Tupelo, Mississippi, Jackson, Tennessee. So there's a huge area that our television covers, but then also we've got a very good following here on YouTube and on Facebook and such. So if it makes sense, we'll be there, but I love Evansville. Dreadhead Kev, love the setup behind you. Well, this is just our green screen and such, so we shoot a lot of stuff in here, and so I figured I would kind of take you behind the scenes. It's nothing real fancy. Got some lights, and I'm still designing the studio in here a little bit, but yeah, this is where some of the magic happens. Dobo says, is there a women's championship? So the United Wrestling Network is launching their United Wrestling Network Women's Champion, but then also for Championship Wrestling from Memphis, we absolutely will have a women's division champion. What we'll have to do, though, is introduce the cast of characters and build a little bit of those characters and let you kind of know who they are and why they're there. And then we'll find a very intriguing, interesting way to crown our first champion. Same thing with all of our other titles. But yes, there will be a women's championship, and it won't be too far away. Big town in the loop, says STS Pod. Yeah, Evansville, Indiana, Jonesboro. I mean, you name it. Gosh, if we could just get a small percentage of that back. We're already looking at some areas, too. We're looking in the Mississippi area right now. That's before our premiere even happens. David, it's been a while since I've been to Arkansas via Missouri, but I'd like to check out the wrestling action in Jonesboro. Yeah, so we could absolutely be in Jonesboro. Dreadhead says, I do miss TV. Yeah, so we had this big setup at Local 24 and CW30 Studio, big desk, lights, camera, action. I mean, it was so cool. And then Friday the 13th hit last year, and that's when the pandemic happened. So we had to kind of adjust. And luckily, myself and my Maria fortunately do a lot of television work and commercials and such, to where we invested in some equipment to where we can do it here at the house. And then we really had to learn how to use it because we were put in a situation where we couldn't be in the studios anymore. Let's see. BT says, David, check out my podcast live there 2 days a week. Yes, so that's where the STS pod happens, is Jonesboro, Arkansas, stspod.club. Hecto says, where's VSK? VSK is doing a lot of work with AEW. So if you watch Being the Elite, you'll see him on a lot of those videos. I imagine that you'll see him back on Championship Wrestling once Hollywood goes back into production. Dave Scooby says, will Brandon Baxter be involved with Memphis Wrestling? He's working in Jonesboro on K-Fine. Yes, he is the #1 radio guy in Jonesboro. Me and Brandon Baxter go back to my very first day in the wrestling business. He was there. He was running Memphis Wrestling. And absolutely, I've already talked to Brandon Baxter. He will be involved in some capacity, even if it's not right off the jump. And I can't reveal all my cards, but definitely me and Brandon have been very good friends for a very long time. So I would imagine that Brandon Baxter, who loves professional wrestling, and he basically owns and has cornerstone the Jonesboro market. So absolutely love Brandon Baxter. You'll see him at some point. Now, also keep in mind, too, there's a lot of people that we want to work with. They're unavailable at this point. There is still a pandemic going on, and we're going to follow all the rules and guidelines, but that doesn't mean that everybody's available. So some of the people that you don't see at first, you'll eventually see when things open back up a little bit more. And I can talk to you about any kind of the rules and safety regulations that we're going to take. I actually owe you a phone call, Dreadhead Kev. Let's see. Daquan says, what happened to Bar Wrestling? Bar Wrestling was run by Joey Ryan, who, if you haven't read up on what happened to Joey Ryan, then you need to Google that. That's why Bar Wrestling is no longer. Missed the bloopers. Dreadhead Kev, I'm glad you said something about bloopers, because apparently Maria has some special footage of me picking my nose that's going to air sometime. Gives you a little behind the scenes of what's going on. I don't know if that's a blooper, maybe an outtake, but somehow this footage is not supposed to air, but you guys will probably see it coming up on YouTube and on social media. Dobo says, why do you not have Championship Wrestling on the weekend on a Sunday also? Our television tapings will happen on a Sunday at 2 p.m., and our time slot is Saturday at noon. Robert, are you going to have tournaments to decide who your champions, or will it be sort of a Royal Rumble? Robert, that's a great question. We will have a different way to crown each champion. Right now, we're looking at our main championship, which I can't tell you what it's called, tag team championships, of course, and women's division championships. So we have those three that are definitely going to happen. We do want to do something similar to the Red Carpet Rumble. It will probably be the Grind City Rumble. So we'll have different ways to crown each champion. It won't just be tournaments. But I will tell you that our first 3 weeks of Championship Wrestling from Memphis will be our first 3-week blockbuster spectacular entitled the Cobra Cup, based off of the tradition and the heritage of the one and only King Cobra, the Memphis wrestling legend. David says, one of the female wrestlers in Championship Wrestling from Memphis, Screen Cap, has red hair and glasses. I don't know her name yet, but she reminded me of one of my favorites, Veda Scott. The one with glasses, flexing her muscles, is Nikki Lane, and you're going to see a whole lot of her at Championship Wrestling from Memphis. Tex says, you two are doing a great job from home. Shout out to Maria. Thank you so much, man. I'll definitely let her know. And everybody that was mentioning in the chat about her hair, one of the things when the episode was released, because we get it a couple of days early, she was like, hold on, let me look at my hair. Let me look at my hair. Let me look at my hair. Oh, okay, all right. You know, it's like, okay. Your hair looks fine, babe. You look great. You look amazing. 5-star, if you will. But yeah, I appreciate that. James says, great editing on this episode. I saw the original pay-per-view broadcast on Fight TV. The repackaged presentation flowed much better. Totally agree. And I know exactly what you're talking about, James. You're going to see more of that primetime live footage, which, by the way, has never aired on television until right now today, the first time ever. It has aired on pay-per-view, but never on YouTube or never on television until today. And next week, Thunder Rosa defends the Women's World Championship right here on this program. Hashtag Memphis Wrestling is back. Oh, yeah. And I'll call you Dreadhead sometime today. Why did my face turn red? When did my face turn red? Oh, Dreadhead gets all the funny stuff from TV. Nikki Lane is Veda Scott 2.0. I'm very familiar with Veda Scott's commentary. I'm a big fan of that for sure. But Nikki Lane, she is women's wrestling's best kept secret. So you'll see a little bit about her next week. We're going to introduce the women's division next week on this program on Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle just before the NWA Women's World title match. How much matches were there today? Today we had 1, 2, 3. We had 4 matches today. Typically on our program, you're going to see anywhere from 3 to 4 matches. If we have 3, that's better because you can get a little more time out of these matches, some backstage stuff, etc., etc. Ruben, spider on the wall behind you. Trust me, my Maria, if she sees an ant, she's calling the pest control. So she's real weird about that. BT says Nikki Lane is awesome. I agree. Bo says 4 matches today. Typically you'll see 3, but we did have 4 today. Man, the Levi Shapiro just didn't kick out. His shoulders didn't come off the mat. The ref had no choice but to count 3 today. Tex says Thunder Rosa versus PK was one of my favorites from 2020 5-star match. I agree, and it's super cool to see Priscilla Kelly signed with WWE NXT last week. And then also Thunder Rosa, she's in a huge match coming up on Dynamite next week. So 2 of the biggest women's wrestling stars, arguably. I mean, you could say like the ones that are, I'm talking about those that are just getting started. That's Thunder Rosa and Priscilla Kelly. They are awesome. Willie, what's up? Thanks for joining me today, man. Let's talk some Memphis Wrestling or some United Wrestling Network. Whatever you got, let's talk about it. If you got questions, hit me up. BT, I appreciate it, man. I will see you next week, and I'm looking forward to the premiere of Rolling Into Mempho podcast. You can check out BT at stspod.club, and you can hear the podcast right here on this YouTube channel when it premieres on February 27th, or you can go to championshipwrestlingmemphis.com. That's a good point here is go to championshipwrestlingmemphis.com/roster to see all the latest of who signed on to be a part of Championship Wrestling from Memphis. David says, thanks for the info, Dustin. Definitely looking forward to next week's show. Oh, next week's show is loaded. Women's World title on the line in the main event. Dreadhead says, when you getting back on some Fortnite? Oh, my gosh. I have not had a chance to play Fortnite in months. When I get done with this, I'm going to do another live stream on Facebook, and then I've got some video to edit and get the show ready for next week. We are on deadlines like crazy. Whew. I mean, designing championship belts, ordering supplies, getting the ring ready, booking talent. My latest deal was with Family. I don't want to get the name incorrect. Let me pull this up just so. And this goes back to the rules and precautions and safety measures and all of that kind of stuff. Just make sure I have it correct here. Want to make sure I'm 100, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so DeSoto Family Care Clinic on State Line Road in South Haven, Mississippi will be providing all the testing for all of the individuals that are involved with Championship Wrestling from Memphis TV tapings. So as far as everyone that you see at our facility will have been tested the day of or the week of for COVID-19. So we are taking all the precautions extremely seriously. We're doing temperature checks and masks at the door, everything that we can. So just wanted to throw that out there. DeSoto Family Care Clinic is the place to be in the Mid-South to get any of your testing. And they will also be providing the vaccine at some point in March, which is right around the corner. All right, next, the NWA Championship match was great. Yes. Oh my gosh, what a match today. That was one of my favorite matches of last year, is watching Nick Aldis versus Mike Bennett, because it was the first time we'd seen Mike and Maria outside of the WWE when they left from their contract. Terry said it'd be great to see Thunder Rosa come to Memphis. It could happen. She's been in Memphis before. She's been right down the street from Memphis, and I promise you, some of these stars that you guys are mentioning, you will see on Championship Wrestling from Memphis. Willie says the women wrestlers from Mission Pro Wrestling and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and Memphis should be great contenders for Serena Deeb's NWA Women's Championship title. Absolutely, 1,000,000%. And so what our goal here as Championship Wrestling from Memphis is going to be to build those stars up and make some stars and get them those opportunities. So hopefully you'll see some Memphis headed to Hollywood. You'll see some Memphis headed to AEW, NXT, whatever the case may be. And then also, why couldn't one of our Championship Wrestling from Memphis women's wrestlers win the NWA 10 pounds of gold or win the United Wrestling Network Women's Championship? It can happen. Keep your eyes peeled. Memphis is making moves. Bo says it felt almost surreal seeing Dan get the win over Levi after the cold streak he's been on against Levi since then. Yeah, and it all has to do with that deadgum Howdy Price. So Dan has had a bit of a cold streak, but that match today, I don't want to speak out of turn, but didn't really look like Levi was done. But he just didn't get his shoulders off the mat, so the ref had to count to 3. David says, I actually thought that was the match where Levi swiped the title. Kind of a relief to see Dan win that one. I'm not exactly sure, and Lamb probably knows this if he's here, but I don't remember the exact dates like Lamb and some of the others do of when that happens. Rhino JB says, grit and grind never dies. Oh, man, I'm grinding day and night. Had a business meeting this morning, came back home real quick to do the live tweeting and stuff like that here for the show, and then back to work when I'm done. Actually, I look at this is work. You never work a day in your life if you do what you love. Daquan, he says, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood was the place to be, where AEW Dark superstars get to show their talent. Yes, and Championship Wrestling from Memphis will be the same way. Shout out to Danny Limelight, who picked up another victory. He is 2-0 in singles competition. Also was in the ring with Kenny Omega and the Impact World Tag Team Champions just 2 weeks ago. So keep an eye out for old Danny Limelight. He's killing it right now. Hammerstone reminds me of Scott Steiner. That is a good compliment right there, Big Metroid. But Hammerstone is a freaking beast. I saw some people in the chat saying that EJ was getting squashed. Well, gosh, man, who matches up to the size and power of a Hammerstone? It just, yeah, I mean, he's incredible. Dobo, what football team do you support? In the NFL, I support the Miami Dolphins. It's been a rough decade or two for us. Dreadhead Kev, welcome back. Terry says, also would like to see Jordan Clearwater and Jesse James. Many of us live too far to drive to Hollywood. Where are you, Terry? Are you close to the Mid-South? We definitely do plan to have some talent come and go from time to time, especially when travel is a little bit easier, of course. Willie says, Hammerstone versus Nick Aldis for the NWA Women's World Championship. That would definitely be a good one. What about the West Coast Pro Championship? Would that be on the line too? Central Arkansas. Terry, you need to get a ticket, man. Go to championshipwrestlingmemphis.com and grab you a ticket. They're only $10. We do Sunday, March the 7th. It's at 2 p.m. bell time. We'll be out there about 5. You'll see probably a whole month's worth of television taping and matches. So no spoilers or anything. Yeah, you got to come out, man. Absolutely. And if anybody is outside of the area and you want to support Championship Wrestling from Memphis, of course, sharing and liking and commenting and all that stuff definitely helps. That's a form of support. But then also, if you want to purchase a $10 ticket, we will donate that to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Mid-South, or a local family that loves pro wrestling that typically doesn't get to do that kind of stuff. So big shout out to Destiny. Destiny bought a 5-pack of tickets for a family here in Memphis. So shout out to her and a big thank you to her for doing that. I know that somebody is going to be absolutely thrilled at that. And also stay tuned to our social media, because tomorrow we're going to do a giveaway. We are going to do a giveaway on a show that is already sold out. So a little teaser there. Any other kind of questions? Anything else you want to discuss about Terry says, I plan to come this summer. Awesome. We'll be looking for you. Make sure you let me know and say hello when you're there. Any other kind of questions? You guys want to talk about any other wrestling or anything else? Memphis? Yes, sir. Thank you, Lamb, at CW30 Wrestling on social media. James says, I'll tell Destiny that you gave her a shout out. She'll be so happy. Oh, we really appreciate you guys. I told this story last week, but when Maria and I made our first appearance out in Hollywood, we were like, hey, we hope these people know who we are and that kind of stuff. But man, there were signs, there were Memphis chants. It was surreal. It was so humbling and everything. It was super cool. And we really appreciate you guys, no matter where you are. You could be in the UK. I saw somebody from the UK earlier, Arkansas, California, Texas, whatever. Lamb is in Germany, I believe. He keeps up with everything. So we really appreciate all the support. Bo says Destiny's the MVP. She's the real MVP. She also got Bill Dundee and stuff from her Superstar tribute of last year. So Daquan says wrestling moves that you like. I like to take anything that doesn't hurt. Willie says Championship Wrestling from Memphis will be featured on Primetime Live. Will they be featured on Primetime Live or NWA Power? I'm not sure. We don't necessarily have I know Dave Marquez and United Wrestling Network has a working relationship with the NWA, and we have a working relationship with Dave Marquez, obviously, and the United Wrestling Network. So thus, yes, we do, and on behalf of United Wrestling Network. So Dreadhead, but I don't know about Primetime Live or NWA Power. That is more of a Dave Marquez question. But I can tell you anything you need to know about Championship Wrestling from Memphis or Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. Dread says, hit me up, brother. I bought new memory cards for the show. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Jake is in Mississippi. What part of Mississippi? We're 10 minutes from Mississippi. We do a lot of work in South Haven and Hernando. We love Clarksdale area. Been looking at possibly doing a show out in Clarksdale, Mississippi. It could happen. There's been a kind of a Waynesboro. All right. Let me check and see how far Waynesboro is. Jake, you should totally come to a show for sure. Waynesboro, Mississippi is 4.5 hours. That's a road trip. Come spend a day or two in Memphis. Yeah, not too bad. Anyway, those tickets are at championshipwrestlingmemphis.com. We still have general admission available on March the 7th and also kids tickets. So GA is $10 and kids are just $5. Any other kind of questions? Anything else you guys want me to cover before I jump over onto Facebook and chat it up with them? Willie says, I just want to see crossovers from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and Memphis. You'll see a little bit of that, but you do realize we've got to launch our own show and establish our own cast and characters and stories and champions and all that kind of stuff. We definitely have to do that first and foremost. And I would totally say that you would probably see some Hollywood. Anybody that you've seen on our show on Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle, there's an opportunity to see them on Championship Wrestling from Memphis as well. Big Metroid says, will Championship Wrestling from Memphis's version of the Red Carpet Rumble coincide with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood's version? Coincide as in happen at the same time? Probably not. Coincide as have the same similar rules? Yes, absolutely. We would basically take the Red Carpet Rumble, which is under the United Wrestling Network umbrella, and we would execute it here in Memphis, maybe with a different name. I mentioned the Grind City Rumble earlier, something that's more Memphis, and then go from there. Absolutely. So the United Wrestling Network has been very successful in the things that they've been able to create. And so we're not going to just start creating our own stuff. We're a partnership with the United Wrestling Network for a reason. So we're going to take what they currently have and we're going to make it something new in Memphis, if that makes sense. Bo says, how big is the Memphis roster looking as of now? Go to championshipwrestlingmemphis.com/roster. Oh my gosh, it's loaded. So not everybody's on there because there will be some surprises. But you saw Jace Osei today training. And I don't know if there's a trainer that can really control the beast, but you'll be seeing him. Humongous, Alan Steele, Derek King. I would say we've got at least 30 already that are scheduled to join us. And that's not all of them. So some of the guys and gals that were not on our first set of TV tapings will be on our second set of TV tapings. So just like the Hollywood product, you will see new faces pretty regularly. And then, of course, you'll see the consistent ones as well. Just like Hollywood, man, but Memphis. Robert says a lot of people here are closer to Memphis than I am, as I'm in Sacramento, California. Awesome. Where Championship Wrestling from Hollywood airs Saturday night. Well, we're glad you found us, Robert. You can find all the matches from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood on our playlist called Feature Matches. All of today's matches are there in full. All of our episodes are there in full in our playlist as well. And you can see matches with myself and my Maria wrestling Nick Aldis, Cowboy James Storm, Double J Jeff Jarrett, and more in the Dustin and Maria Star playlist. So we appreciate you for finding us, and you can watch us a little bit earlier than having to wait on the Hollywood product, and we really appreciate that. The shows are very similar, but they're also a little bit different too, as we are not, me and my wife are not on the other Hollywood shows. We're just in the Memphis market and on this YouTube page. Heidi Katrina should be a part of United Wrestling Network's roster. All right, thanks for that, Willie. David says, Dustin, are there still toll booths at state lines when you cross them? I ask because I haven't been outside of California in a little over 20 years. Last time I checked, there are. When I lived in Florida for WWE, I had a toll sticker. When you drive through, it automatically debits your account, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, there are still toll booths. They're a little more digital. You can just drive right through and they charge you automatically, or you stop and pay your $1.25. $1.25, please. That's an Adam Sandler joke. Daquan says, Will Allday. Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of Will Allday. I have his t-shirt all damn day. You will see Will Allday at some point on Championship Wrestling from Memphis. And also you have a couple of other Texas boys that are coming. Bam Malone is coming. Action Jackson is coming. And Action Jackson, he does a lot of work in Texas, but he's more kind of around the Little Rock area. But I consider him a Memphis guy because he's done so much here in Memphis, and he will do so much here in Memphis too. We had Cam here for our Halloween drive-in wrestling show along with Will Allday. So we'd love to have those guys come back down as well and be a part of our television show. Good questions, guys. Thanks for bringing it, man. Anybody that's watching this back at a later time, if you have a question of your own, put it in the comments, and we always go back and try to do a good job at answering those questions. Anything else? It's been a lot of fun. Saturdays are a lot of fun. Dreadhead says, Grizz versus Rocky the Redbird. Make it happen. I don't think Rocky likes to fight. I know Grizz, especially Super Grizz. He likes to fight. Start some trouble. But Rocky, I think Rocky doesn't like to fight. But it could happen. We're in Memphis. Anything can happen in Memphis. This is not your grandpa's Memphis wrestling either. Let me tell you that. This is new. This is fresh. It's going to be like, and I love Memphis wrestling. Nobody loves it more than me, but it's going to be a version of Memphis wrestling that we've never seen in the Memphis area. Meaning production, camera shots, the quality, the time and effort that's being put into this thing. And each week that you see us, it'll be, I don't want to say different each week, but we will learn from previous episodes and it'll just get better and better. Willie says, Dustin, will you be wearing those cool suits while you're at the announce table? I cannot. I am. I've already went to suit you and got fitted for the premiere. I said, all right, guys, it's premiere time. Give me something good. So I've already got my suit picked out for the premiere. And me and my Maria will be at the broadcast booth. I've been listening to Todd Kinley, Blake Bulletproof Troop, Jimbo Bimbo, Alyssa Marino today. Maria walked in the room and she's like, oh, Alyssa, I love her commentary. And then, of course, Joe Galley. I'm a big fan of Joe Galley. I mean, these guys are so good. We got some pretty big shoes to fill, and hopefully we can bring you a little bit of a different entertainment feature as far as being husband-wife. And, if you listened to the podcast last week and listened to me interview my Maria, that gives you a little snapshot of what you can expect at the broadcast booth. of just kind of picking back and forth and having fun and calling some wrestling action. So that'll actually be the first time that we commentate together on a television program. So really looking forward to that. But of course, I'm going to be decked out. Suitsyouonline.com. You can get free shipping, and also they have 2 suits for as little as $150. They have all sorts of deals. You got to check them out. All right, Dreadhead, we will talk to you soon. Daquan says, did Championship Wrestling and ROW have a partnership? I don't know if it's necessarily a partnership, but we definitely, Reality of Wrestling, have co-branded and co-sanctioned some matches. You saw the Texas Championship being defended on episode 500 here just a couple of weeks back. So, yeah, there's a good working relationship. We have really good working relationships with most other companies. The only time, especially here in Memphis, that you will not see us working with another company is if they have point blank made it known that they don't want to work with us, which doesn't make any sense because we're the only television show in town. So get Papo to show up in suits you. I need to send him here. Maybe send me your sizes, Papo. He always gives me a hard time. James, I like when you say, hey now, especially on your GCW podcast. Any chance you're a fan of the Stern Show? Yeah, of course, man. A longtime Stern listener. I actually have not listened to Stern in a long time just because I don't have Sirius Radio. And most of the time I'm listening to the local broadcasts or what have you because my friends are on there and such. Always recruiting. You'll see some of them at the broadcast desk with us. But yeah, definitely was a Stern fan. Actually, it was one of the first books I read. I don't know why my parents let me buy that book, but I was allowed to buy the book and read it. And I was like, what in the world? Not one of the first books I read. I guess as a teenager or whatnot, it was one of the first books that I wanted to actually read and read. Hey now, you got that reference. All right. All right. Anything else, guys? Lots of good stuff. I'm sure you hear my phone buzzing over here. Twitter is blowing up, which is good. Saturdays are also always a good day. Real quick, just to let you guys know that all the matches that you saw today are available in full on the feature match playlist. Coley says, what happened to the best of 7 series? I'm not sure what's going to happen with that series. There were plans for it, but now that Lacey Ryan is with WWE NXT, I don't think we're going to be able to finish that series. So we'll see. So maybe Heather Monroe wins by default. I'm sure that will be addressed on an upcoming episode. David says, looking forward to hearing you and Maria on commentary. I may be in the minority on this, but I also like the team of Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne on Impact. I did not realize they were married when I first listened to them. So, yeah, I'm a fan of both of them. It's a really hard job to do, man. You have to be very articulate. You have to be able to lead the audience and tell the stories that they're trying to get across in the ring. So, yeah, it's a tough job, man. I'm looking forward to it, though, and I appreciate that. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Hopefully it'll be as much fun for you guys listening to it as it will be for us to do it, because that's one thing about it is we'll definitely have fun doing it. Willie says, Dustin, you are a cool dude, and Maria is awesome. Thank you, guys. One thing about us is we love Memphis wrestling, so don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And this is Memphis wrestling. It is real Memphis wrestling, and it is back as of February 14th at our TV tapings. Those are sold out. We are at 25% capacity. 300 people is 100% of the capacity. We sold all of our ringside seats for March the 7th. We still have general admission available. That's championshipwrestlingmemphis.com. And I think Memphis wrestling fans are just as excited about it as we are. Despite what anybody thinks, this is not going to be your grandpa's old 1970s Memphis wrestling. That is not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to recreate what happened in the past. We are going to use the heritage and the tradition of the past to build the stars of the future. And we have not had a Memphis wrestling television show in over 15 years. And we are chomping at the bit to bring that back to you guys. I've talked to some of the wrestlers that are kind of like me. They're seasoned. They've been in it for 20 years. I said, now it's time to get the young guys over. So wait a minute, guys. There hasn't been a Memphis wrestling in 15 years. Everybody has to get over. Young guys, yes. but everybody. So we're really looking forward to introducing you to the stars of Championship Wrestling from Memphis. Daquan says you should have longer matches on Championship Wrestling from Memphis. Well, we have 58 minutes and 30 seconds that we're able to fill, and there's only so many matches that you, of course, want to feature multiple matches, which we like to have 3 at least. Also, backstage segments and interviews and stuff like that. So when you have 58 minutes and 30 seconds, it truly is the fastest hour in pro wrestling. So you can't necessarily all have longer matches. Jamie Davis says, really excited, got tickets for both already. Jamie, we really appreciate that, man. You have no idea. And by you doing that, that helps us continue to push forward and make sure that we do this for a long time coming. And guys, this is just the beginning. There are other plans that nobody knows about just yet that are in the works. There will be more and more announcements coming up. This thing is really happening, guys. It's going to be awesome. James says, so excited to join you from the ground floor as a fan in launching Championship Wrestling from Memphis. James, we really appreciate it. I'm serious, man. Even those of you who are outside of the market, just simply sharing something or liking something, it's free to do. That really helps get the word out. I really highly encourage you guys to look at the Slam Wrestling article that was written that me and Dave Marquez was interviewed about. So Willie says, what will your Memphis Championship title be called? I don't want to really reveal it because I want you guys to see the title belt, but we're not going to deviate from what United Wrestling Network is really doing. It will not be the Southern Heavyweight Championship. There's typically a Southern Heavyweight Championship, and we're not going to do that. Bo said it's crazy how those 4 matches got fit in today's show. Truly the fastest hour. Yeah, I think when you fit too many matches in, it really it rushes. It rushes it. So if you have 3, you can also include some backstage segments and stuff like that. So I'm a bigger fan of the 3-match rule. Robert says, you planning to go bigger arenas if you sell out every TV taping? Well, when we say we sell out the TV tapings, at this point, there are only 75 tickets. A true sellout there would be 300. We're not allowed to have 300 in there. We're only at 25% capacity. But absolutely, man, if we think we can sell out an arena, we will. I think we're a long way away from selling out an arena. But if we do a civic auditorium of 1,500 people or something, I think we can get pretty close on that. But it's all going to depend on the support from the fans and, of course, the pandemic as well, because some of these venues are still not up and running, unfortunately. Daquan says, do you watch Glow on Netflix? It's a wrestling show. Yes, me and my Maria are big fans of Glow. Got 2 cool shirts from the website. Great new designs on there. Thanks. That's a good point, Jamie. I really appreciate that, man. If you go to championshipwrestlingmemphis.com/store, there are all sorts of new T-shirts there. Not only just classic Memphis wrestling shirts and not only Dustin and Maria Star or Championship Wrestling T-shirts, but a lot of the wrestlers that you're going to see on Championship Wrestling from Memphis have their own T-shirts on our site. So it's truly a Championship Wrestling from Memphis store. So go check it out. If you're in the Memphis area, you can actually pick up your T-shirts. They're all created locally here in Memphis. And if not, they'll ship them to you. Very, very simple. It's like a pro wrestling tees, but it's for Championship Wrestling from Memphis. Excuse me. Don't worry, that wasn't COVID. I appreciate that, Jamie. That is cool. You made my day, man. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you have wrestling friends and stuff like that, let them know. Tell them to come on with me. Let's go to the show. You're going to be really impressed with the venue. When you go in, you're going to think, wow, they're doing wrestling in here. That's top of the line event hall in Memphis, Tennessee. It's at Winchester and Ridgeway. It is a very, very nice facility. Shout out to Miss Lysandra. So we do have a deal with them that they are the official home of Championship Wrestling from Memphis. And it's actually at the same location that we did the Halloween Spooktacular, the drive-in wrestling on Halloween Day, except for it won't be outside. It'll be inside the facility, obviously. Also, quick shout out to Creative, 85 Creative. They're going to be in there shooting our footage and helping produce the show alongside the United Wrestling Network. Tima Bad says, how tall is your hair? It's about this tall. About that tall. Don't worry, I have a hair appointment the week of the premiere, the week of our television tapings. to where I'll be nice and lined up, which I went and saw my girl Jenny earlier this week. Thank you. Not sure if that's an underhanded compliment or not. Big Metroid says, I remember the original Glow show. I watched legends like Reggie Bennett. Lots of good stuff from Glow. We love that show. Willie says, my father's relatives lives in Memphis, Tennessee. I will tell my cousin Daryl about Championship Wrestling from Memphis. Yeah, definitely do it, man. Absolutely. We are still getting the word out. I know that we do have a lot of exposure on social media and YouTube. And of course, we're all over CW30 Memphis. And I do radio spots on a weekly basis and podcasts and such with wrestling fans and all that good stuff. But there's nothing like your friend or your family member saying, hey, did you know? Yeah, you could buy tickets. And so, yeah, help us out any way you can. We really appreciate it. And make sure that we have longevity. David says, I remember Glow too. I love Reggie Bennett and Cheryl Russa. Very cool. Yeah, we are very, very high on the women's division. So that will be a point of focus for us at Championship Wrestling from Memphis. If not, my Maria will kill me. But plus, I'm a big fan of it too. So once we introduce this thing, you guys are going to see brand new women's division wrestlers each and every week. It's going to be super cool. And like I said earlier, we will have a Memphis women's wrestling champion. And we will not wait that long to do it. Actually, it is being designed as we speak by a local Memphis artist, Martheus Wade, who designed all of our championship belts, in fact. Also, he works with the Heal the Hood Foundation, who we partnered with, and were able to donate $2,000 from our Halloween Spooktacular. They help underprivileged kids and after-school programs and just a little bit of everything. They're building the Hero Empowerment Center, which will be the home eventually of Championship Wrestling from Memphis. David says Ivory was in Glow too as Tina Ferrari. I remember Ivory for sure. Yeah, she still looked great in WWE all those years later. All right, well, if you guys don't have anything else as far as questions or anything, I look forward to seeing you on Monday at noon for the Championship Wrestling podcast. We are winding down the podcast to where I'm turning the keys of the car. I'm turning the reins over to Rhino JB and Brian Trammell, where they're going to introduce the brand new Rollin' into Mempho, where they're going to cover each and every week what they like, what they don't like, hits, misses, all the stuff regarding Championship Wrestling from Memphis. So you'll be able to find it right here on this YouTube channel or at championshipwrestlingmemphis.com/podcast. See you later, Willie. I do have VHS tape of. All right. Well, I am going to jump on our Facebook platform. So that is at CW30 Wrestling and then also at Dustin Starr. So I will jump over there and I will answer any other kind of questions. The man with two first names, I'm going to drive 12 hours to see Championship Wrestling. Get your ticket before you do it because we're almost sold out. Every time high flyers sell, they look like they died. It depends on how they fall, I guess, Daquan. Go to championshipwrestlingmemphis.com and grab that ticket for March the 7th. You're from Memphis. Very, very cool. Well, you should already have your ticket. February 14th is sold out. There are general admission available for March the 7th, but not very many. So ringside is already gone for that one. And also we're going to be back on April the 11th. I'm going to drive 12 hours. Oh, okay. So you're driving 12 hours, but I'm going to drive 12 hours to Championship Wrestling. I am from Memphis. Sorry, I'm not from Memphis. I'm driving to the Memphis show. If I can get tickets, finger crossed. Grab them now. They're only $10. ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. Looking forward to seeing the new championship belts. Thanks as always, Dustin. Hope to listen to you on Monday. You are going to love the championship belts. They are being shipped to me as we speak. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to see them right away. Like I said, we've got to introduce the cast of characters. We've got to introduce some storylines and such. But trust me, you are going to love these. Just like Dan Joseph and Jesse James, the man with two first names. All right, I'm going to jump on Facebook. So join me, facebook.com/CW30 Wrestling. I love Gentleman Jervis too. I will see all of you on next Saturday if I don't see you on Monday for the Championship Wrestling Podcast. Until then, I am Dustin Starr. Oh, yeah, saying so long, everybody.